Good morning, TNT. Welcome to A Cup of Joe and a Bill Jackson. Good morning.
Blessed and beautiful Monday morning to you.
We have two lovely cups.
I know, it's so pretty.
This morning, I don't even want to drink it.
Neither do I.
Thank you, Shiano.
Drink Lounge and Bistro.
One of the wonderful mixings here at Drink Lounge and Bistro. It's a strawberry mochaccino.
All right.
Oh, my mustache. All right. Okay.
We both look suitably ridiculous. Suitably ridiculous. Say it.
All right.
Am I good?
You good? You look good.
I look good? You look good?
Yeah, a
I'm
little
something
something. Yeah, a little something.
Okay.
All right.
Am I good?
I think you look good.
Okay, great. Hello, Trinidad and Tobago. Now that we've looked sufficiently silly.
Yeah. Let's get this show on the road.
All right.
What's coming up this morning?
You know, laughter is really good for the soul.
It is. You
know, sometimes you have to kind of center yourself. And, you know, every day along the journey, as one of our past guests, Garth was usually says, along the journey, you know, people encounter.
You can't drink this thing.
No, you can't drink that on camera. You know, along the journey, people discover certain things in the aid and the of centering themselves. So I'm wearing a beautiful band this morning. It's called a Uru band. I don't know if y'all can get a look at it. It's very pretty. This is a genuine Tanzanian diamond. Isn't it beautiful?
So it's called an Uru band?
Uru. So I'm going to read it for you. Uru Trinidad is the local arm of an international jewelry brand, Uru Diamonds. So yes, I'm wearing diamonds this morning. Diamonds, girl best friend. It's an ancient Swahili term, Uru, describing the powerful essence that comes from a diamond worn and cherished by African kings and queens. So that's what I'm wearing this morning. And these diamond bands are available newly from a local supplier.
Right.
You know what I was thinking? You know how we do on a Friday, local artisans and that kind of stuff? Maybe we need to expand apart from Foodie Friday on another day, dealing with other local, I don't know, franchise holders, suppliers, people who are doing, you know, awesome work on the local scene.
Let's do it in the Christmas season.
Pretty much, yeah. So maybe, you know, we can get the Uru folk in for Christmas, because I'm sure this is a beautiful gift.
That's a beautiful gift.
This is a beautiful gift for Christmas.
Is it expensive? I'm hearing you saying real diamonds and stuff. It's expensive.
Well, you know, it's not necessarily, you know, the cheapest gift ever, but it's definitely a gift, you know, for someone special.
Right.
I will say it's a gift for someone special.
That's someone who is willing to spend money on someone.
So y'all should check out Uru Trinidad on Facebook and on Instagram. Thanks, Al. Thanks, Shayla, for bringing this straight back from Tanzania for me.
So
straight back.
Straight back?
Straight back. I think it was like, what, 14 hours on the flight or something of that nature. So yes, it's pretty. Okay. It's my favorite color.
Somebody special gave it to you? Or?
Well, you know, not really, but it's one of my best childhood friends who's, you know, a part of the whole Uru Trinidad movement. Right. So I wanted to share.
Oh, you have to give that back?
No,
yeah.
No.
You didn't get that as a gift?
No. I mean, I was thinking that I would keep it, right? Anyway, let's not digress too much. We've got a fabulous morning packed here on A Cup of Joe. We've got a funny man. We've got a financial man. We've got a
youth man.
That's not an F word, though. I needed to okay, fine.
I need a napkin. This thing is tasting so good.
Okay,
but
you drink.
It has a lot of things happening
inside of it.
Yeah, it's a lot happening inside the cup. What's coming up inside the cup, you said?
Inside of the cup, brought you the kind compliments of
Kiss Sandwichology.
All right. So we do have that funny man. We have one of the icons of local comedy.
Yes. Sharing
a cup with you this morning. I'm really excited. None other than Mr. Tommy Joseph.
He would normally do those introductions.
He would normally do those. I don't think I did it justice, but yes, he's here this morning to spend some time with Joel. I expect it to be a fun interview. We're also going to have a financial fix from Republic Bank. Yes, Mr.
Shedley Branch
is here with us. Yeah. As well as we talk youth. The Trinidad Youth Council, as opposed to the Trinidad and Tobago Youth Council. It's actually separate. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
That we have a youth council.
I didn't know that.
And that there's one youth council that's specific to Trinidad and one that's specific to Tobago.
Okay.
So they're doing some great work, great and underrated work in the industries where young people are in the communities, sorry, where young people are concerned. So we're going to have Mr. Sean Nicholson, the president of the Trinidad Youth Council. He's going to be inside to share a cup. And then we are going to have our spoken word spotlight. And today we've got Jimmy.
Jimmy October.
That's right, LaShawn Emmanuel. He's back.
He's back.
So yes.
All right. That's what's coming up inside our cup
Yes.
today.
Apart from all of the cream and yumminess that I'm going to guzzle off camera.
Thank you very much, Action Jackson.
You're welcome, Gulafana man.
Let's get this show on the road, folks. We speak with comedian extraordinaire coming up next. His name, Tommy Joseph. Stay with us here on A Cup of Joe.
Good morning, Henry Blofield. Good morning, bro. The marvelous day of love. And people used to was wrapping up that. So that changed the whole aspect of things. So I always used to keep that in case.
I see more guns than textbooks. I wonder if these parents can take time out of their busy schedules just to check a book bag or something. Like, any homework, son? She'll probably wait until
Could make some Trini favorites any day with Rani flatbread. You give some tomatoes a roast, cook in oil and seasoning, 5 minutes at most. Give Rani a light toast, fill with choker, and be an epic host.
Now that's a Rani good idea.
One morning, Peter walked out to find every flower that he never stopped to notice. Every sunrise that he never watched, every football match he forgot to play with his son, and arrived at a cafe to find every conversation he never had with his father. And it was only then that Peter finally decided to wake up. Wake up to life. Nescafe. Nestle. Good food, good life.
We're the one who's always there to help you all of the way.
Systems that work for you as you live life each day. We're the one who makes it easier to
We give personal attention, so make us your selection.
Good morning and welcome back. A Cup of Joe on this Monday morning, and in to share a cup, one of the funniest men in TNT. When you hear his name, you automatically laugh in your mind, if not out loud. I'm speaking about Tommy Joseph. I'm about to share a cup with him this morning. I hope I'm able to keep a straight face when I speak with him.
Yes, you will.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Joe. Morning.
How are you?
Well, I'm fine. Whether or not.
Whether or not you,
Yeah.
I'm watching your orange ensemble.
Yeah.
Or they say orange is the new black, you know.
It is also a signal to because you know how, like in America, when things happening,
Right.
they go to the color orange. We even tried it here in Trinidad recently.
It worked.
I don't know, but it's still around the color.
Tommy, going way back,
Way back,
you
man.
were always that funny guy.
No, well,
you
I mean,
originally from Belmont,
don't
huh?
say it on the funny side, but always being humorous.
Humorous.
Yeah, because what happened, as I say, good morning, viewers, scouting for talent.
Going way back then.
Yeah, and not even before that, because
Yeah.
you had those times you used to have blockoramas.
Blockoramas.
It's
Break
something
that
called-
down for the young people who
Okay,
don't know
well,
what that is.
blockorama was like in the communities.
Right.
They will have a show.
Right.
And one of the guys who used to be responsible for that was the late DJ Gabi, who was murdered at his home many years ago. And you had a fella called Casey. He was the local James Brown. He was one of the fellas who used to promote these things like in Solo Panyard. You go to all these
So
communities.
the Blockorama community.
Yes, at that
And
time.
everybody come out.
In the
in the streets.
In the streets too, Blockorama.
And
big crowds.
And you guys just put on a show.
Yeah, we do, and people come and they enjoy themselves, and everybody get back home. At that time,
Yeah,
I don't know if now you could have it.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes the things that we try to keep away from They might be the things that may be able to help what's going on in communities today. But they're not looking at it.
They're not looking at it
At
from
all.
that perspective. You came through the ranks from being, as I said, you from Belmont originally?
Originally I'm from Tobago.
You're from Tobago?
Yeah, born Tobagonian.
And grew up
from
in
Plymouth.
Belmont? Yeah.
And then after I lived Gonzales into Belmont, you know.
Right.
They say,
So you're originally from Tobago?
yeah, originally.
Right. And so your roots in Tobago?
Yeah, some of them still there, some of the roots done gone back to the roots already.
Right.
Back downstairs.
Tell me about your transition into becoming a master of ceremonies, because you were one of the major master of ceremonies
Yes,
that came through.
It came there. It started around the 80s, I think, when they had a problem with, I think it was the original Young Brigade, it was Sparrow and Sil Taylor, the late Sil Taylor, they were together, and they had the OIB, which was the original Young Brigade. Then they had a split. That come and know that Sparrow by himself, then Sil Taylor went by himself. And then there was a guy who was emceeing and he decided he didn't want to do it again. And they choose, they call on Tommy Joseph, and they tell us, look, Tommy might be able to handle it. And from there I started doing like Calypso MC.
Right.
I think I work at the, I don't remember the name. Yeah, well, it was Sil Taylor Young Brigade.
Right.
And that was Rash, the late Rash, OTI, Crazy. Was a big thing. It was at Queen's Hall that year.
So you were a comedian, stand-up comedy, before you were a master of ceremonies?
Yes, because I was saying scouting for talent.
Right.
I used to do like little things with the insects. Now I was seeing these things big now, but as I started it, like cockroach playing football and announcing like if it's real football.
Right.
And we used to have news, like thing on the ants nest and all them things I used to do.
Right.
At a time I had a little skit. I had a chat with the sneakers. I was conversing, now I don't want to advertise for the sneakers, but I used to converse with pro kegs. And these were some of the things. And I even want to, they had a special prize on scouting for they used to have these special prizes, best humorous, and then you had the best vocalist, but I was in the humorous, and people used to even say, why, you can't win no car in scouting with just, because it's the same thing. And it was really true. But I used to put everything together. It wasn't a separation of comedy and singing. And
it was a talent show.
Right. So it used to be very hard
to
at least win. But they come around, they started having this special for the other entertainers, like the best musician, best comedian, best dramatist. And so I ended up.
So were there other comedians that would have competed back then as well?
Well, at that time, they had a guy, I can't remember his name, but I think he passed away. He used to impersonate.
Right.
He's the guy that came on the scene and, like, talking like people.
Right.
And that was a big one, and he ended up winning the prize. He won it twice. The first one, they tied both of us that year.
Right.
Second year, he got that prize.
While you were coming up and you were doing your comedy and you're doing MCing and so on, you also had a day job. Are you still with the Postal Service?
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
No. I reached the age.
You reached the age?
Yeah, because people see
You're that young? You're that young?
I'm that young.
You're that young?
Yeah, because people see me at the office there.
Yeah.
They ask me to tell me, nah. I say, yes, the old lady sent me to collect money.
Yeah.
But I can't tell, they can't believe it, some people.
Yeah.
So I served that time.
You served that time?
But I worked other places before, post office,
You did?
Yeah, I worked like at the ice company.
Right.
Worked there for some time.
Right.
And I used to do printing to like printry work.
Are you serious?
Yeah, then those times you had to fill out the letters to print the tickets and things.
Right.
Not again. As they say, technology now.
Technology. We spent most of your years as a postman.
I worked with TT Post for many as a handyman.
Yeah.
And then I went into, and then there was a split, we was Trinidad Tobago Postal Service.
Right.
Then become TT Post.
Right.
So I served both.
And you serve both entities.
Yeah.
And you found time to do
comedy.
I
used to ask for it sometime. And like people used to say, well, how are you working?
Yes.
And you're traveling. Well, what used to happen, I used to talk to promoters, and if I have a show overseas, I would ask them if they could make me fly like the Friday evening.
Right.
Bring me back home Sunday night or early Sunday morning.
Wow.
And I used to do
Did it ever
sometimes.
start to occur to you that you could do comedy full time, become do that? Did that ever occur to you?
Never.
Never occurred to
I
you?
was approached to do it, and seeing the times that I travel,
Yeah.
and I'll see how it is. I say it wouldn't work. Try and keep your job, Tommy.
So you said it wouldn't work because of the
Because a lot of things.
financially, or
No, because your job.
Yeah.
The amount of things that that still there for you, although you retire. When you retire in comedy, I don't think you will have those things there.
Right.
Like say, as a comedian,
Right.
there's a pension for the comedian. There's a, you know, I don't have those things.
Right,
But
right.
your job, when you serve that time, there's still something there for you.
Yeah, yeah,
And that
yeah.
was important.
And that was important for you.
We have other people who did it, other entertainers.
Yeah, yeah.
Who resigned from their job and went for years.
The stability was important for
Few
you.
of them, maybe
Yeah.
David could have been one. Yeah.
Enjoy the time at the Calypso tents?
Yeah, at that time, yeah. Spectacular.
Spectacular?
Yeah, that was a spectacular time, man.
Yeah.
That time,
Tell me about some of the memorable times you had at Spectacular. When you brought on almost all the big acts.
all the big acts. So
Yeah.
a lot of fellas came, some gone,
Yeah.
passed away. Have those who still continue singing. But that MC work at Spectacular, it was fantastic. It was spectacular.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't give up after that, you know. I went on to work in, well, for the last couple of years, I ended up at Kaiso House.
Right.
Like what I'm doing now.
Right.
You know, but, and people like jokes. People used to come to hear, you know, not only to hear calypso, you know, people come to hear humor.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
want to laugh. But then after that, I get kind of bitter. At one time, the calypsos start to get bitter, you know, and then people, I personally find that people moved away from calypso a lot, boy.
When the Calypso started to get bitter.
Well, that too. And then too.
Politically bitter.
Politically bitter.
Yes.
And then some of the things people saying.
Yes.
Where a fella could have, you know, like for instance, I used to have children show.
Right.
And you can't pick much people to sing because of what everybody's saying. But I find it changed a lot. And recently, you know, it's tough.
Yeah.
I working at Kaiso House. And
That affected you and affected the MC when things started to turn in
well,
that direction?
No,
No?
wasn't, you know, like in the political thing to say
Yeah,
things. I
yeah.
even jokes.
Right.
Because as a comedian, I used to do like jokes.
Right.
But have different things people just do it. Like in stand-up comedy, now we have stand-up comedy.
Right.
Which of course even dying too and all that. Because I'm looking at something when we have these comedy shows now. You find out everybody doing skit
Yeah.
and not stand-up comedy. And recently I don't have about 3-4 people now involved, like Nuts Landing.
Yeah.
You would have myself
Yeah.
and about 3 others.
Yeah.
When before that you could get 8 people, like the first 5
Yeah.
stand-up comedy, the second half stand-up comedy. But now, man, out of 10 performers, you could get about 8 skits. And so that's some of the changes that I'm seeing it.
That you're seeing.
And then too, again, I was different, you know, my style of comedy is like a joke. And the others people do like a story, and they have laughter too.
Right.
Because just recently you see have Larry Joseph, a skit he just do. He do skits.
Right.
Answering, talking back,
Right.
communicating.
Yeah.
But my thing is stand up.
Stand up.
You know, like I will give a joke, and then I give a next joke.
Right.
But you have to have plenty jokes.
Yeah, there are plenty jokes.
And then
But
it's
you would stand up for what? One stint would be about a half hour on stage?
It's much better so.
Yeah.
Because comedy is a thing like that. I think you should do for the longest, at least 30 minutes.
30 minutes, yeah.
But what I like doing, I used to like impersonation. I like cricket. I like sports.
I remember your impersonations.
And all these like Gaffy Sobers.
Yes.
These things used to help me because the other time I went to a show, I think it was in St. Lucia. And the guy who went on before me, like in St. Lucia, they talk some patois.
Yes.
And this felt like he knew me good. And all the jokes that I was going to give, he gave about 6 of them in patois I didn't know. There's a fellow who come and tell me. So the only thing saved me was that cricket thing. Because
You had to do over your whole.
No, I just started. He could come and tell me, say some of them joke. You know, he tell me, give it in patois. So I decided to approach my thing different.
Right.
So I went into like sports. Because people like cricket.
Yeah.
So you know, like you do these Gaffy Sobers, and you know, like them cricket commentators.
Yes,
You know the English men, how they, what a marvelous guy.
Yeah.
With the one blowing or love line. There's a 3-step galley cover, square cover, the mid off, mid on mid wicket, forward short leg, and there's a backward square. Good morning, Henry Blofield. Good morning, for a marvelous day, oh love. And people used to was wrapping up that. So that changed the whole aspect. I think so. I always used to keep that in case.
In
of
case.
anything, yeah.
All right, Tommy Joseph, stay with us. We're coming back. We have a lot more to talk with you here on A Cup of Joe. We are sharing a cup with Tommy Joseph, one of the top comedians still around in TNT, and a massive ceremonies for many, many a year here in Trinidad Tobago. Stay with us. Tommy Joseph sharing a cup with me this morning.
Yeah, man. Always remember that.
You see, when you're playing against a team like the Australians, you can't make modest scores. that means you bat with the wrong pads. When you're batting, you have to bat, you have to stay free. Yes, and then even the strokes you're making, you have to be careful, so you could bat carefree.
They are best friends. They share everything: experiences, moments, and adventures. They're always together. Protect them with Clim 1 Plus from Nestle. It's the only growing up milk with 3-Bio 1 to help protect them from gastrointestinal diseases. Your instinct is to love and protect him. Clim will do the same. Nestle, good food, good life.
Why settle for a one-note cereal? Get more with Honey Bunches of Oats. 4 nutritious grains come together for more taste, more texture, more healthy satisfaction. Have a bowl of happy.
All right, we're back. Thanks for staying with us. So we're sharing a cup this morning with Tommy Joseph, comedian extraordinaire here in TNT. And Tommy, we spoke so much about the lighter side of comedy just before the break, but
yes, we did.
A comedian in society can be equated to a social commentator. Many times the comedian tells what's happening in society, just probably on the humorous side.
Yeah,
that's what happens. You've been probably a social commentator over the years.
No, well, as I say, I just doing like a comedy, but to say that I get involved.
Yeah.
In even like workshops, I don't think we have that where comedy and things is concerned.
Do you think workshops is something that we should have where comedy is
have it, yes,
concerned?
but in communities that that the press and people want to get something to do, and I think that if they do it, that may be able to help part of the problems we're facing today.
Yeah.
But who's going to start it?
Because I'm sure if you go back in your mind when you were in school, you were that guy that would have everybody laughing.
And it must have children still.
And there would still be children like that
doing it, yeah.
And teachers and parents would just say, "Why are you only playing the fool like that?" And
right.
that person probably is a
but
young comedian.
Who helping from there? It happens in sports and all.
Yeah.
They'll get some good, it happens. And it's happening right now. And we're not getting an opportunity like to go to these places where we'll have a show, you have it in Napa, or you go to, but to say to go into the community. Long ago, they used to use the community centers for entertainment. Not even that again, you're not getting.
Right.
So I think if they sit down and study, and they could do something like that to help the situation.
And help, yeah.
And comedians, we don't get ourselves too much involved in the political platform. That's the next thing we have to be careful. That's the next thing, You have to be an entertainer. So you could mama guy anybody if you give a joke on that side, you talk about them, you have to give a joke on you do that. So nobody can say that you is this. And I think you have to keep away from that a lot.
Because long time when you was doing stand-up comedy and somebody gets up and walk across it, you
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
It have the guys who was good at that.
Yeah.
not me so much, but it had the fellas and they take a whole part of like you say, they come out there and do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They have a 5 minutes of that.
So
you're already finished. They do 15 on that.
So do you write or do you just come up with stuff in your head and you?
No, I don't like much writing.
No.
Because I'm a left-hander. No, seriously, that could be one of the reasons.
So you don't like much?
No, because
you don't write.
No.
Because you're left-handed.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
It do. And just recently, I had a day for that too, Left-Handers Day.
Is that a Left-Handers Day?
They have a year, everything now in the year, Yeah, but I would like to see Trinidad and Tobago just get back on its feet, because right now I think we are lying down. And it's time for me to get back and get the people together, get the younger people especially involved in some of the important activities. Even as I say, humor. They could do something, form some kind of community and let the communities help out. And we would go forward and help too. But you see what happened to it? Then you come now to the music. That's the next thing. The young people more like the kind of songs now you're hearing today. They're not concentrating on no human thing. I'm not saying we not have young people in it there, but I think more the music. Because if you look at when carnival season comes around, you have about 3,000, 4,000 songs out there. and you know. So
You do a little bit of radio now. You're a talk show host on one of the popular radio stations in the country. How did that come about? How did that come
on
about?
mornings? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Getting good feedbacks, and sometimes we put in a little humor, but we have our serious parts.
Right.
We have so much of topics now.
Yeah.
Because like for instance, like when I finish here now, I go and run off.
You that one almost went off my head, over my head there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. You see, I have to say again, involved with the politics.
You must have.
We're going to run off when you're
as soon as I leave. Yeah. That's it. So I don't know.
Yeah, but how you got involved in radio though? How did that happen?
You mean like the program?
Yes.
Well, they were always asking me, even the times I was working at the post office.
They were asking you?
Yeah, I was talking with two guys, and they were asking me if I wanted to be a part of the program when I retire. And, I tell them, yes, no problem, because I couldn't do it and I was working because it's a morning program. Right. Times I'm going to work. Even my bosses, sometimes when I go up, they say, but Tommy, you're doing well. You never should come to work so early when you're working. And that's okay. They say you're getting up in time. Because with that traffic too, sometimes coming from the south, it'll be easy.
Yeah.
But I'm doing well.
You're doing well.
And still do we have some people listening.
Yes, some people listening. That which is most important.
I don't listen to you because I tell you I like sports.
Yeah.
I don't listen to you.
Yeah. Still doing comedy though. If opportunities still exist for you to express yourself.
A little bit in demand.
Yeah.
But not as before.
Right.
Because there are more comedians now too. Yeah, there are a lot of guys now doing comedy. About 8, 9, 10 guys and fellas involved in it. But again, as I say now, everybody going to skit. And not stand-up comedy.
Why do you think that is, though?
Well, only time you get jokes.
Yeah, stand-up is not as easy as people make it out to be.
Because next time people in the audience say, oh God, Tom, you come back with that again.
Yeah.
And I think it's not like calypso, where a fella could sing for years and your calypso move on, but humor and stand-up comedy is different.
Yeah.
And then when people in demand of something, you get them coming more regular, but get to like it. So there we have to do more work.
Tommy, so you really don't write. You don't write your stuff, but literally, your mind is always working in terms of.
That is one of the things
of looking for jokes.
Well, that is one of
you
it.
told us 2 or 3 jokes in just this short space of time here.
Yeah.
That wasn't really planned.
Right. Sometimes but that also it happens on stage when you have a show. Because a show you have to plan your little program.
Right.
What you would do, and that is something different. And even during the program, you may have a program for that show.
Right.
And sometimes you still put in something else. Something impromptu happen.
Yes.
People in the audience tell you something.
You gotta be quick. You gotta be quick on your feet.
You got to be brother.
You gotta be quick on your feet.
And then after a time, as you were saying, it's good to get some more young people involved.
Yeah.
That is important.
Yeah. Tommy Joseph, you've entertained the Trinidad Tobago over the last few decades, and I hope you continue to entertain
You
us.
think I should continue, man?
I think you should continue.
Because they say these days that the population, they are taking the comedians serious and the politicians as jokers. So I don't know if
we have 2 sets of comedians in the country now.
Plenty. So I don't know if it'll work.
Tommy Joseph, it's such a pleasure chatting with you up close and personal and sharing a cup with you this morning.
Thank you very much, and I hope that I will get the opportunity to be here again.
Yes, well,
so we'll even talk a little bit, because we have so much to talk about.
Talk to Abiyo Jackson. Tell her you want to come back.
Right.
All right. Talk to that lady there. All right. We're taking a short break. Enjoy sharing a cup with Tommy Joseph this morning on A Cup of Joe. Stay with us because we have much more in store.
Want to know what you can do with Rani flatbread? You give steak a slice, lay pieces on Rani, sprinkle spice, add grated cheese and sweet peppers with a dice, and finish by rolling it up real nice.
Now that's a Rani good idea.
There's really one bank you can depend on. One bank that leads the way. Technology and systems separate us from the rest. Republic gives only the best to you. We get personal attention, so explain for your inspection.
Yeah, Yeah, we're back and we're inside what we call Financial Fix, thanks to the fine folks at Republic Bank. As every Monday morning, we try to just get you in that financial mood. A lot of questions where finances are concerned. Republic Bank usually would have all the answers to that. They have a representative here again. He was promised that he would come back this week to talk further his discussion on mortgages. We started with mortgages last week, and we're going to zone in now on building. So not only mortgages, but when you have to get involved in construction. That's what we're going to focus on this morning. Shedley Branch is back with us. Thanks for joining us again, Shedley.
Thanks, Joel.
So we discussed mortgages and what you need to do to get yourself prepared and ready to engage the bank when it comes to a mortgage. But you were saying last week, when it comes to construction, when it comes to having to build from scratch, it's an entirely different scenario.
Yes, it is. I mean, in the first instance, the construction loan, we call it a bridging loan. It's you are paying interest only during the course of construction. So and then it's converted into the long-term mortgage loan after you're finished.
So you have to, you see a piece of land. You purchase a piece of, the bank purchases a piece of land for you, it costs X amount, and then now you have to get another loan to build.
That's correct.
While building, you're only paying interest on the loan, you're not paying, the mortgage doesn't begin, that's what you're saying?
No. So the land loan, you start off with the land loan.
Right.
You get your plans drawn and approved, and then you begin to build. That period of time in between is called a bridging period, and you get a bridging loan. Right, or bridging construction loan, whatever.
Right.
And during that period of time, you're paying interest only. Right. So, and then when you are finished, it's converted, and you have what you call your traditional long-term mortgage.
Right. And is that a specific time? Because I'm supposing every situation in terms of building will be different.
It's different. I mean, it depends on how long it takes you to construct. But they normally work with about a year.
A year.
6 months to a year.
6 months to a year. That's the time the bank would give.
Yeah, typically. It could be extended.
Right.
But you work with typically between 6 months to a year.
6 months to a year. There's a lot of tips that I think you want to go through with us, Shedley. Let's get into the tips. Let's explain exactly what we need to get organized, what folks need to get organized when it comes to having to approach the bank for building. So the first tip I'm seeing you saying is begin by being pre-assessed. This will allow for proper budgeting. Now that goes across the board.
That's correct.
Yeah?
That's correct. So as I mentioned last time I was here, you want to start with a pre-assessment. You come into the bank and you speak to one of our mortgage officers, and you determine how much you qualify for. This will help you determine the amount that you could spend on buying your land, how much you want to build, how much you're going to use to build, right? And further to that, you can assist in drawing your plans. It will inform your plans. So therefore, you're not drawing plans for a house that you can't afford.
Right,
so
right.
Yes.
So in other words, you got to know what you could afford before you draw a big upstairs and downstairs 3-story house. And
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. All right, tip 2, consider all that you want in a home when drawing house plans, as that changes later on during construction can be costly.
That is so correct.
Let me go that over again, because I'm not understanding it. Consider all that you want in a home when drawing house plans, as changes later on during construction can be costly.
Yes.
You don't want to draw a plan and then now you have to say, no, I don't want this piece again, I want that piece here.
And it could be very simple. I mean, I'm speaking from my personal experience here as well. Simple changes, like if you say, for example, you would like to have your lighting fixtures on the wall as opposed to the ceiling, and then change that during the course of construction. You have to make some different changes, and all of those things cost money.
Right.
It might seem like a small change at that point in time, but of course, the accumulation of those small changes could be very expensive.
Would the bank cater for what they call cost overruns?
Well, they would ask you to build that into your plans, right? So that you have a certain amount earmarked for cost overruns. But certainly that could get crazy if it is that you make a lot of changes and whatnot. And there's a tip actually.
Dealing with it. All right, let's move on to tip 3. Get at least 2 references on your builder, persons who he has constructed homes for in the past. That's important.
Right. Well, now, if you can imagine small changes costing money, you can imagine a big change like changing contractors during the cost of construction, how expensive that could be.
Right.
So you want to make sure and get some references, see how he has built and whatnot, see if it is that, inquire if it is that the person stayed within budget, if he stayed within the time and whatnot, and make sure that you're happy with the builder that you're going to contract.
You
for the
don't
job.
want to have to change builders
No.
and contractors
No.
midway
No.
through the project. That's dangerous. All right. Tip 5: build in the dry
Oh,
season.
gosh.
That sounds almost too obvious to be true.
It seems so obvious, but you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
And I've heard all kind of wives too where that is concerned. But as we said earlier, you're paying interest on the amount that you borrow during a period of time.
Right.
Time is literally money. So apart from the fact that you may lose things like material or whatnot being washed away in rainstorms or whatnot, time lost due to rain delay and whatnot, they can't go out, they're afraid they get cold or whatever the case may be, is going to cost you money in terms of interest costs.
Yeah.
So build in the dry season.
When they could work the contractor and say nothing.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Makes sense. Let's look at 6 quickly. Prioritize during building on primary structure, as not all final finishes need to be in place to obtain the completion certificate.
Right. Now I mentioned about getting completion certificate at the start of our talk.
Yeah.
Right. While you're building it, you may be tempted to go ahead and buy all your fancy tiles and the bathroom fixtures and whatnot ahead of
The
time.
finishing touches.
Finishing touches and put it down because you're again sale.
Right.
However, some of the things that you may purchase ahead of time and not put it in the building itself may not see you getting completion certificate.
Right.
A completion certificate, you don't have to have all of the finishing fixtures, all of the finishing touches in place to get the completion certificate.
So it's not necessary to have all those finishing touches.
Not all. All.
Right.
And as soon as you get your completion certificate, you may, as soon as the earlier you apply for your completion certificate, even if though you are not finished, you can convert your mortgage from the bridging stage into the long-term stage and save interest costs.
Right, because let's just clear up that completion certificate is needed to switch from that bridging phase.
That is correct.
To when you actually now start your mortgage.
That is correct.
If you don't get that completion certificate,
you may
that
still
bridging,
be
that bridging goes.
Right, you will still be in the bridging stage.
And that's not a good thing.
Well, it's not a good thing if it is that once, of course, as you get closer to completion, your loan balance is going to be higher. And of course, the higher your loan balance, the more interest you're paying.
Right.
So once you get to that point where you're nearing completion, your interest cost is going to be at the highest point.
Right.
So at the very soonest that you can apply for your completion certificate and obtain it, you want to bring it in and ask the bank to convert it as the long-term mortgage
As quickly as possible.
as soon as possible, and that will save you some costs.
You don't want to extend that bridging period too long.
Not if it's not necessary.
Yeah. All right. Our final tip today, Shedley, you're saying discuss and agree with the builder how cost overruns are to be addressed at the onset of the construction. Your builder will decide this?
Well, you and the builder need to determine exactly how it is you're going to address it.
Right.
If it is, for example, that the cost overruns is as a result of some error that they made.
Right.
They put up a wall wrong and it bent or something like that. They have to take it down.
Right.
That's something that you ought not be penalized for. Right? There are some things that are beyond anyone's control. You buy steel today, you buy concrete, cement today, and then tomorrow, before you finish purchasing all the cement that you need, it goes up. That is something that nobody could be, that wouldn't have a control over.
Yeah.
The contractor wouldn't have any control over that.
Right.
And you may have to fit that bill. So you have to decide, you talk with your contractor, your builder beforehand. It's like, okay, how are we dealing with this? In some cases, some people enter what is called a fixed price contract. So regardless of how much the cost goes up, you are still paying that one price that was agreed to at the beginning.
Right.
So it all depends. Not all contractors will agree to that, and not all circumstances will allow for that. Right? You may decide, listen, I'm handling all the material costs, right? So any cost overruns as a result of price changes, that's me. Any cost overruns related to labor changes, any mistakes, any wastage or whatnot, that's you. So
hammer that out before.
Hammer that out before. come to an agreement
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
later on, during the course of construction, it doesn't become an issue.
Right. Shelly Branch, thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it there for today. And the information, as I said, valuable information as we continue to just educate our public in terms of when you have to deal with financial matters, and mortgages and building is one of the biggest decisions that anyone will make, any family will make. So you got to get it right. Of course, the fine folks at Republic Bank bringing us our financial fix segment. They'll be back next week, Monday, as we wrap up our season here on A Cup of Joe. So stay with us and get your financial fix, our final episode next Monday. Stay with us here on A Cup of Joe. We still have much more to come on this Monday morning.
There's really one bank you can depend on. One bank that leads the way. Technology and systems separate us from the rest. Republic gives only the best to you. We get personal attention, so explain for your inspection.
Want to know what you can do with Rani flatbread? You give steak a slice, lay pieces on Rani, sprinkle spice, add grated cheese and sweet peppers with a dice, and finish by rolling it up real nice.
Now that's a Rani good idea.
Hey, thanks for staying with us, TNT. We are into our Cup for a Cause segment now as we move swiftly along on this Monday morning. And inside Cup for a Cause this morning, we are speaking with the Trinidad Youth Council. That's what they call themselves. I have the president with me. It's an organization that has been around since the 1970s. The president is Mr. Sean Nicholson, and he will explain what this organization is all about and what they are doing on the ground here in TNT. Thanks for joining us, Sean. Tell us, first of all, the Trinidad Youth Council, around since the 1970s, I believe 1970s when it was originally formed?
Morning again. Yes, it is. There have been different incarnations of the Trinidad Youth Council. This current incarnation is running for the past 12 years. We are into our 13th year.
Okay.
So that we would have inherited an organization, in a sense, that would have existed previously in the 70s.
Okay, understood. So it's not necessarily the same organization that existed back in the 70s.
Yeah.
All right. What changed? What changed since then?
At different intervals, the organization would have existed. So that when there was Black Power, the organization existed in a real strong way because there were a lot of young people agitating for different things. But thereafter, it died off. The organization died off. And in 2001, there was a mandate from the Commonwealth so that all the territories would have national youth councils. And coming out of that mandate in 2001, the Trinidad Youth Council, well, two youth councils were formed, the Trinidad Youth Council and the Tobago Youth Council.
Okay, so they're separate one for Trinidad, separate one for Tobago.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
That was the agreement, that's what was agreed to then, at that time.
Give me the objective, because I see the organization is non-governmental, non-discriminatory, youth-led organization. So give me the objectives of this organization.
Right, so that the objective of the Trinidad Youth Council really is to empower young people at any level using whatever the tools are. So for example, in communities, we would use various forms of intervention. We would use sports, for example. We would do, like, for example, we do mediation in some where we see crime hotspots. We do mediation, conflict resolution. So we use different tools to impact on young people, to empower young people to be able to make change within their communities.
Right. How exactly do that? Or what the tools do you have at your disposal to make this sort of impact on communities?
One of the nice things with the Trinidad Youth Council is that while all the expertise may not be housed in the organization, we partner with other organizations. So for example, all our crime and violence initiatives, we partner with the University of the West Indies, and Dr. Diane Williams works with us on any and everything that we have to do in crime and violence. Even if it's just to go over, document with us. She works with us hand in hand in any, so that presently we're planning for a Violence in Schools symposium, which will be done in 2 phases. On the first phase, we just want to go into the school, chat with the students, find out what's going on, why is there crime. And the second phase, we then design interventions along with the students. So it's not us designing the intervention, but they would design the interventions. We get the tools, get whatever equipment, whatever they need to begin to run off those interventions in the school so that we would really see a reduction in crime and violence in our schools or in school violence.
As you said, you've been in existence. This incarnation has been in existence 2001.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Tell me the sort of impact you think you've been having and some of the projects that you have gotten involved in from now till the present time.
So that the first way I always like to answer that question is with my personal experience. I started off in Tisha Village Council, that's where I'm from, Tisha Village in Point Fortin, and we have a group, Progressive Youths. At the time, we were under the neighbor's house, under the shed in the garage. The then president of the Trinidad Youth Council would have been Mr. Ernesto Kiza. He came around with a group of young persons from the Point Fortin area speaking about the Trinidad Youth Council. Honestly, I was not interested, I was not impressed. I was one of the troublemakers outside the group, used to be pelting rotten egg inside while the group having meetings and so on. But that there's a friend of mine, he stuck with the information that he got, and he began to come out to the meetings of the Trinidad Youth Council and so on. And then 2 years later, I became involved. So that from a youth group, a community-based youth group, it became not only, or recognizing firstly, that it's not only about my community, because what happens in my community affects the other community that's outlying, and that would then affect another community, which could then affect the nation. So that was the first understanding for me. So that having understood that what we're doing is not only for us, it then led me to become involved in the Trinidad Youth Council. After Mr. Kiza, we would have Mr. Atkins Vidal. He was then the president at that time. And thereafter, 4 years ago, I became the president of the organization. So that from a community, and this is literally the way we work. The Trinidad Youth Council would, for example, we got a call from a young lady in Cedros by the name of Kavita Mahabir. Went down to Cedros, sat with her, we chatted. She worked with about 25 young men, 2 young ladies in the group. And they weren't a group at the time. So that we worked with them to form a group, first thing. After we formed the group with them, we then began to design interventions that they would prefer to see in their community. So that, and that is literally what we do throughout the country. So that we have done it Cedros. We have one of the groups that we started again is in Ghat Road, which is in Princestown. We work in Mayaro. Literally across all of the country, we work towards designing these interventions.
You know, it's what you're describing is such an important facet of not only community but the entire country. In terms of, you know, it starts from the family. It starts from, of course, the community, and once you get those little aspects right, you know, as I said, the country benefits. But I'm just wondering, based on your own experience, as you explained, how far-reaching? You're speaking about a lot of rural communities. You mentioned hotspots, the so-called hotspots. Are those the communities that you're focusing on, or do you have your far reach throughout the entire country in terms of Trinidad? All right,
so that our reach isn't as broad as we would like it to be.
Right.
But that within the last 3 years, we would have done a lot of work in rural communities, mainly because when we did a focus group session in maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and we were speaking with some young men in Mayaro. It was the first time we were actually engaging those young persons. And they said, and this really stood out to me, and is one of the reasons why we actually decided to do work in rural communities. They were saying that and I will repeat exactly what was said, in Lavantil, they have everything. If they have all sorts of interventions there, but because we're in rural communities, we are nothing. All we have is the sea and fish, and that is their livelihood. And they say if we had to pick up a gun and start to shoot people to have an intervention down here, then be prepared to do that. So that on hearing that, we recognize that these persons or young people in rural communities, they recognize that they have a need, but that the things needed for them to fulfill their need, or the things required, they don't have.
Right.
So that is where we began to literally carry things in. So that we carried in YBTT, for just one organization, Youth Business of Trinidad and Tobago, who would have helped these young people begin their own businesses. And we would have worked with them over a period of time doing different things to get them to a place where they no longer see themselves as, well, we's my way down in the back and nobody really care about we.
Yeah.
So that we've been working with them along those lines. so that while we are currently in rural communities, it is a shortfall, and I will say that, of the Trinidad Youth Council in terms of really working in urban areas. We're not there as much as we should be, because there are also dynamics that are different in urban communities where young people also have needs.
And is it because of lack of funding? Why is it that you are not reaching out into the urban communities?
Generally, it is a lack of resources.
Resources, yeah.
In communities or in rural communities, we still have a lot more of community spirit. So that we still find a lot more young people gathering, whether it be for football or on the block or wherever it is. But in our urban communities, we don't see that much. We don't see that as much. So it's a lot harder to even get a group of young people here. So to actually begin working in the community is a lot more difficult for us. While we would use different tools to get the social media and so on, to get the word of the Trinidad Youth Council out, it really depends on tangible people, real people coming and meeting with us and saying this is the things that we need in our communities so that we could begin to design interventions.
So you can't pick up yourself and a group of from your council and just break into a community and say we come here to it wouldn't work like that. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, the community has to welcome you almost.
Yeah, so that once the community expresses the need or the desire, so it could be a village council. Yeah, if that village council has young persons that are attached to the village council that they want to do more for, or we also do a lot of training and development. We also do a lot of advocacy work. So that if they say, all right, we need training and development along these lines, then we would begin to design those interventions along with them and prepare something that the young people could benefit from.
Sean, what I wanted to do quickly as we wrap is to just tell me, because let's just say one of the urban communities will be listening now this morning and would want to reach out. They have a group of youths that would want to get involved, come together. How easily are you guys accessible? Just tell folks how they can.
So that we're on Facebook. Trinidad, just look up Trinidad Youth Council on Facebook, and we are there. You could call me directly. My number is 352-0867.
352-0867. 0867.
Yeah, and as long as there is that first or that initial reach out, we would then begin to take the initiative from there and begin to build whatever it is.
How old are you?
I am 29. I'm actually on the fringe of youth.
You're on the fringe of youth?
I'm almost out. So that this is my last term of office. So that the Trinidad, youth is defined from 13 to 29 or 13 to 30 in Trinidad and Tobago. Just to add one thing, the Trinidad Youth Council, we always get a bad name, and I'll tell you why. If, for example, government X is in power, it is always seen as the Trinidad Youth Council might be on the opposition side. But that often when it switches, the blame always goes the same way. We always ask for objective young people who will be able to stand squarely in the middle and make fair decisions. And that is what the Trinidad Youth Council tries to uphold. So that it is one of the things, is also one of the criticisms that we get a lot. Because if there is policies that are being rolled out that are not in the best interest of young people, we would speak out against it. And in that regard, a lot of times we are branded as against this one and against that one, but in essence, we really aren't.
You got to keep plugging, you got to keep your focus, because I think it's a very important organization that needs to continue doing what you're doing on the ground. I want to congratulate you, first of all. You're on the fringe of youth. I consider myself a youth still, so despite I'm way past 29, but congratulations, Sean. Keep plugging on. The president of the Trinidad Youth Council dropping in a cup for a cause this Monday on A Cup of Joe. We're taking a short break. We're coming back. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
There's really one bank you can depend on. Friendly service every day. There's really one standard of treating you like you deserve to be. Yeah, Republic gives only the best to you. We give personal attention, so explain for your inspection.
Hello there. I'm sure you recognize him, but you may not know me. I'm Mr. Peanut's stunt double. I used to go by Mr. Peanut Butter, but somebody thought I was infringing on his trademark. So now I have to go by Doug. Peanut Butter Doug. Roll it!
Cut. Action. Cut.
Amazing stuff. You paying attention over there? That's called acting. That's what separates the real actors. I'm okay. Introducing Planters Peanut Butter. Naturally remarkable.
As the curtains come down on the Monday here on A Cup of Joe, we don't leave you unless we hit you with a spoken word artist, and another artist is dropping by. He is one that we had before, Bill Jackson.
Right.
His name is
LaShawn Emmanuel, otherwise known as
Jimmy October.
Good morning, Trinidad.
Good morning, Jimmy. Morning.
You're just going to ignore what he just did. Okay, fair.
I just love the Jimmy October.
I know.
Yeah, that has a ring to it.
Of course it does.
That has a ring to it.
You have the voice for it.
And I have the voice.
You just have that voice.
Y'all are encouraging Joel
I could bring you on. I
Villafana
could bring you on.
Of course, of course.
in things that I'm going to have to correct and deal with after the fact. You all understand this?
Just call me and I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
I like him. So we had a wonderful show today. We had a funny man, we had a financial man, we had a young man, and we had an October. We have an October. There we go. So we had Tommy Joseph.
A lot of men on the show today.
A lot of men. I know it's turning out to be that kind of week.
Is
you
that
know?
kind of week? Yeah.
I like being surrounded by all you well-spoken, focused gentlemen. That's very refreshing. You're laughing, but it's very refreshing. Because guys, kind of young men particularly, tend to get a rough rap.
Yeah.
You know, so it's great to have you guys in
and
the
the
mix.
spoken word series here on Cup of Joe really brought life to my eyes where the youth are concerned.
Exactly.
I listened to these guys' pieces and I know they penned it themselves.
Yes.
And it's just fantastic. It is what I've heard from these young men.
Yay.
Very encouraging.
To the young male voice. And today, Jimmy is going to enlighten us.
You know what he's going to do, or he's going to take you by surprise?
I really don't.
Great. I love when he's taken by surprise.
I don't even know.
No, that's a problem.
That's a
problem.
We're all taken by surprise.
And it's awesome.
But the stage is now yours, Jimmy, so come up with something fast.
I'm thinking.
Thanks.
Flipping through the newspaper and every day is the same thing. Man gunned down, girl got shot. How you gonna tell our parents this need to stop? I see more guns than textbooks. I wonder if these parents can take time out of their busy schedules just to check a book bag or something. Like, any homework, son? She'll probably wait until she gets a phone call from the sergeant saying that her son is sitting in the station, uniform covered in blood. She's soaking in tears. If she had checked the hidden inside pocket, she would have realized that a gun was sitting in there for the past 2 years. Makes me wonder if she really cares. I wonder if I would see the sweet TNT that my grandmother was always talking about. Because right now, it's a jungle out here. Every man for himself. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Where if you answer back too hard, you might get popped by your uncle. Sometimes I even wonder if they know love. Sometimes I even wonder if they know God. We're lost in this jungle. We're lost in this jungle. Sometimes I wonder if it makes sense to hold on. When I'm tired of wondering, I let go and let God. Why do we put our future in the hands of the careless when it's just political parties hosting fests? Sit around waiting on elections when to them, it's nothing more than petty competition. What a situation that we put ourselves in. I wonder if they hear my people crying. To me, it seems like this country is too caught up making memes to post on Instagram rather than see that this is our reality. The Prime Minister says, keep strong, hold on. What you feel? I'm Mimi in that scene on this tape. No, this is not VH1. This is not where fake becomes real. This is not reality TV. Sometimes I wonder if I wonder too much, I get lost and forget what's right in front of me. And I see a vision in my mind that I want to become reality. I see 1, I see 2, I see 3, I see you, I see me. I see flags, I see hands in the sky, but nobody know when to turn down. Why? Why are we going to turn down? Why are we going to put a smile where there's frown? Because I wonder if I wonder too much. I want to put the flag high, but I'm lost. Because the flag that I have is blank. And I want to put back meaning to my flag. my red, my white, my black.
Yeah. Such another provocative piece.
Young voices
Young
saying how they
voices
feel
continue.
about
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening in TNT,
Yeah.
that we've lost meaning.
And you know, the parents have such an important role to play.
Definitely.
And sometimes we have young parents that don't
They drop the
recognize.
ball.
They
They
don't
drop.
recognize
You know
their
what,
role.
though?
They do pick it up.
I feel as though we've used that, I don't want to say excuse, because I know that there are parents that are in certain situations that are a little bit difficult to get themselves out of. But we've been singing this rhetoric for almost 2 generations now. When are we going to put things in place to make sure that we help parents get it right? That's my question. I mean,
Yeah.
if we know we have a system that is not necessarily working, family, education, health, police and national security, when are we going to put things in place to make sure that we get it right?
Yeah. Interesting that we spoke to the Trinidad Youth Council in this show.
Yes.
And I mean, I was kind of blown away in terms of what their objectives are. And it's such an important organization because they're trying to go into the rural communities and
make things happen.
And make things
Yes.
happen. Our organization like that needs big support.
Of course.
I think that's where support needs to be driven.
That's right. And if I didn't go hunting to find
Find
them,
them, yeah.
I wouldn't know that they were there. How many people before this show knew there was not just the Trinidad Youth Council, the Tobago Youth Council, that they separate? The reasons why they separate. You understand what I mean? And what exactly are they doing in the community and how can we help? Because they're supposedly non-governmental. So that means that there has to be some level of fundraising that's going on. And Trinidad, you give me a headache.
Yeah. All right, stop complaining. Jimmy October, thank you very much, my brother. It was a real pleasure having
Thanks,
you here
Ella.
over the course of the
Yes, my
season.
love.
Yeah. All the love, all the love, all the love.
All right.
Abia Jackson.
Wonderful way to
Wow.
end off this marvelous Monday
Oh.
inside of a cup of Joe. Let's say thank you to our folks at Drink Lounge and Bistro for always accommodating us. They're so wonderful. We also need to say thank you to Amanda, Faces of Belarus, making us all look fabulous. If you'd like to get into contact with us, drop us a line. Feel free to check us out on
Facebook and Twitter. You could follow us on A Cup of Joe TT on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to drop us an email, acupofjoe@gmail.com. Of course, you can also check us out on our YouTube channel. If you missed us in the daytime, you can check us out anytime on our YouTube channel. Yeah?
That's right.
That's a wrap?
Yes, sir.
Jimmy October, thank
Thanks,
you very
guys.
much, my
You're
brother.
welcome.
Well, of course, we will hope to have you back
Of course.
in coming seasons.
Of
course.
Yeah, the
That's
spotlight continues here on A Cup of Joe. We continue to provoke that thought that sometimes runs dead. We don't think about things enough in this country. We just act. And when we act, it's just...
We react.
We react.
There we go.
We react. All right, we put a wrap on it, folks. We see you back here on Wednesday, same time, same place, here on CCN TV6 for another Cup